Ma'at Hotep. Welcome to Raising the Feminine Principle. I am your host, Satra Nidert Kefa Abe Menut Ma'at. I am here today. I'm here at a park here in New York. I do love the outdoors, so that's why I wanted to come out here and do that. I would like to, before I begin anything explaining about what the show is going to be about, I would like to give my special thanks and honor to very specific people. I'd like to give thanks and honor to WNWP TV for allowing the show to air and to make it possible for our goddesses and our queens and our sisters out here to be able to learn and to build with each other in another avenue. I'd like to give thanks and honor to you for that. I also like to give thanks and honor to Ba'aba Heru Angra Samaj, Studio of Utah here in Brooklyn, New York, where he is the creator of my Ankh pendant and my Ankh ring, which are the symbol of my symbol that was a vision that was given to me years ago. I also like to give thanks to Ra Unifer Amen, actually Shakem Shakem Ra Unifer Amen. He is the author of Madhu Natir Volume 1 through 5, as well as the 11 Laws of Ma'at, 11 Laws of God, the Tree of Life Meditation System, the Anuka Netter, and several other books. I like to give thanks to Queen Afua for her book that I also have been studying under, which is Sacred Woman. I also like to give thanks to a lot of my spiritual guides who I have met actually on Facebook and some that I've met outside of Facebook. I like to give honor to all of you. I would like to be able to sit back and give complete and distinctive names of everyone, but that would be accumulative. It would be a lot of people that I'll have to give thanks to, but you know who you are. You know that I give thanks to you. And I would like to give thanks and honor to my mirror, my friend, and he is you. We are the same basically, and you know who you are. I like to give thanks to you for that, and appreciation and honor for being my friend, being my mirror, taking the time to work with me and to help me through this, to sharpen me and to make sure that I stand on point, that I'm standing on my Ma'at at all times, as I do the same for you. So I'd like to give honor and thanks to Amenhotep, Setep and Ra, Murray Amen. Thank you very much. Let's get started. First, I would like to explain to you what Raising the Feminine Principle is about. It got started probably several months ago on Facebook. It is one of my women's groups. I also have a group called Awakening the Black Community Movement on Facebook, and those two groups is that. Currently, Raising the Feminine Principle has 2 conference calls that we do twice a week, and they have been pretty successful. It's growing, and it starts off where it was originally supposed to be maybe an hour or 2 long, but I don't know if it's because we are just women or just also because of the fact that what we are speaking on are topics that are very needed to be spoken upon, that needs to be shared with our brothers and sisters to help each other through their issues, their financial situations that they're dealing with, their health issues that they're dealing with, some emotional issues that they're dealing with, understanding their spiritual walk, their journey that they're on. We cover many different topics that we have there. Also, because we have been doing so well on Raising the Feminine Principle and now building the conference call that we have twice a week, we're also now going to be working on doing a retreat and workshops and going to be doing seminars and lectures going throughout the United States in main cities. Hopefully we're going to get that started in the next month or 2. And so I would like to truly give honor to the One Most High for allowing all this to happen, because without the One Most High, I would not exist. I would not have been awakened in the way that I have been. I would not have met the people that I've met along the way to help me to see things differently, to help me to awaken to who I am, to the true self within me, to understanding that when I was growing up, I never heard of any of these Kemetic names. I never heard of anything like that. We grew up learning things like Nefertiti and people like that, or I can't even think of some King Tut and so on. These are the type of names that we always heard about when I was growing up as a child. But to hear things like Ma'at or Usair or Uset, these are principles and titles that was never mentioned to the black race when I was coming up. So after a certain point when I was a child growing up, I just like a lot of children, we started to create stories and telling lies and things like that, and didn't understand, really why we shouldn't say these things. And when I got to a certain point when I was in high school, I realized that there was no point in me lying anymore, because I wasn't good at holding on to my stories. I wasn't good at facial expressions to have a serious on-point face to make it seem like I know what I'm saying and everything like that, and I can keep my stories in line. No, that was not me at all. That was not something that I could do. So once I realized that, and especially when I was lied to before, I didn't like how that feeling was, and I vowed that I was going to do my best throughout the rest of my life to never lie again. And that's how my life has been. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have never lied since then. I have, and I've experienced the karmic retributions for that, trust me. So, but I do my best very much to live my life as my aunt, to speak as my aunt. But when I speak to my sisters, when I speak to my brothers, whether it's on Facebook or my YouTube channel, which, just in case if you ever wanted to take a gander at that, it is www.youtube.com/SweetTeebs, which is SWEETTEABZ. Living as my aunt is not always as simple as a lot of people would like to think, because my aunt entails a lot of different attributes. I mean, she is divine law. She is an attribute of the One Most High. My aunt stands for, or what defines her, is divine love, truth, order, balance. And a lot of other people don't know or pay attention to that there's another side that's also with my aunt, which is interrelationships. That means the connections of things, understanding the whys of the events that happen in your life. And a lot of us don't understand that, and that's one of the things that helped me in raising the feminine principle within my being. Once you start to understand and see it for yourself, the connections of everything that's happening around you, seeing the events. For instance, I can speak on the events that are happening today, and it actually happened yesterday as well. I have this video, the recording that I'm doing right now for this show. And what happened yesterday was different people at different times kept coming around, talking, sitting near me. It's just like, it was just bunches of people coming at different time frames, what makes it very difficult for me to go ahead and do the recording. And I finally was able to get the recording in once I put the energy out there that you're not going to stop me from doing this video. You're not going to be able to stop the truth. You're not going to be able to prevent the feminine principle from raising, into the consciousness of our women, of our sisters that are out here. And that's when it stopped, and I was able to do 17 minutes of it, but I ended up letting that one go. But I came here this morning, and I got here, walked up the stairs. It took me a little bit because I'm not as in shape as I need to be, and we'll talk about that also here on the show, about fitness and health and so on. But I got here, and there were people sitting at tables that was out here, and so I was like, okay, I started walking up here. People were cleaning, and then the closer I walked up here, there was 2 people on the basketball court. The first person went out after I walked past, got his stuff together, walked away. The last person, he walked off the court. The guys that were sitting at the table that I'm at, and now getting up and out leaving and so on. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's still not people out here, but they are. But that's okay. Where I'm outside, I'm at a park. So who am I to tell them that they can't talk, they can't play, the children can't run around and scream and have fun, because that's what they need to do. They need to enjoy life and have fun with it and everything. And a lot of us don't do that. But anyway. You have to put the energy out there on what you want in life and what you plan to do in your life, and don't allow the obstacles in your life to prevent you from reaching your goals. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us also don't realize that, you know, we're constantly being used by different spirits out here, whether some will be considered for good and some might be considered for bad. Some are for distractions and some are for, you know, to help push you along the way. You know, and sometimes you have to recognize what positions that you're playing. Is it coming from you, or is it coming from a spirit, or is it coming from the divine? Again, back to raising the feminine principle. In raising the feminine principle, it's understanding the root of who you are. It's understanding the essence and truth of your being. And once you understand the laws of Ma'at and embracing that within your being, you understand the different events that are happening around you. You see why you come across the people that you come across, why your job didn't work out, you know, and some of those things when you try to ask yourself why you crossed the path of some of the people that you met, why, you know, you sit there and you wonder to yourself, okay, that was, you know, was that pastor talking to me for, you know, with that particular event or that series or the stories that they came up with to help you to understand, you know, something that's maybe happening in your life. These are all a part of how Ma'at works, as well as in LinkedIn, what we call the principle of Hirakuti. Ma'at is the 4th principle on the tree of life, and Hirakuti is the 5th principle on the tree of life, and they work hand in hand because Hirakuti works with the karmic retribution. That's you know, the law, basically working in the law of reciprocity, the what comes around goes around. And that helps you to understand that what you put out there in this world, it comes back at you. And it's something for you to learn. So if you are working in the law and you find yourself falling out of the law, then Hirakuti works to bring you back into the law. We must find that balance within our lives, understanding that we are here, we are spirits in this physical form, in this world, or this body, I like to say, because understanding what world is. A world is a concept, it is an idea and a thought. It's not this physical place, but we create and manifest the events that we see around us, the things that we see, because we have understood by symbols and definitions of what the things that we see are. Once we find balance in our being, once we're able to get our minds right, to allow ourselves to reach a higher thought processes, a higher consciousness, to be able to understand the things that are happening in your life, why your body is not working the way it should be. There's just a lot of different things that we just we're not working with. Understanding the divine order, understanding that there are different types of orders that we're working with. You have the order that man creates, and then which is our own, and then we have the order which is the divine order. And on both, you know, a choice that you make today is going to have its outcome either later on that day, maybe for tomorrow, or several years from now. And a lot of us forget those choices that we make that causes us to become who we are today, to experience what we are experiencing today, and so on. And we have to learn to be accountable for those choices that we make and not hold regrets in that. Learn from what we have chosen. And it's also understanding that when we have made the choices that we have made in our lives, that most of our choices are made out of our emotions. It's dictated by our emotions, our animalistic nature. And once you realize that a lot of what we call the chaos, the problems, and the pain and suffering that we are experiencing is not the blame of anybody else. It's the blame of ourselves. It's being accountable for the choices that we have made in our own lives. For instance, because I like to give examples to help people understand, and the examples that I give is about my life so that people can understand certain things. I've had events that happen in my life in relationships. And in relationships, you know, things happen, people get angry, they say things back and forth to each other. And we can say hurtful things because that's the one thing, when you get to know somebody really close, you know what buttons to push. And this is just true. That's just like with family. We feel like we know what buttons to push on the person that we are talking to at that moment, because we understand their emotional patterns. So when a man says something to you, like when brothers would say something to me when I was involved with them and so on, and I'll feel extremely hurt. They'll yell at me and say mean things to me, and I'll start crying. Well, it's understanding that, first of all, and this is, I actually have a video on this on YouTube. It's called Mirror. It's understanding that when that person is yelling at you and saying the things that they're saying to you, they're not saying it to you. You may hold or have the essence of what they're talking about, but it's not actually you that they're upset at. It's not actually you that they're yelling at. They're really yelling at themselves, because you're holding this like invisible mirror when you're walking around talking to people, especially the ones that are very close to you, because they reflect who you are. So is the circumference of the people that you spend your time with, the main people that you spend your time with, even on Facebook, even through electronic conversations. You know, there's still somebody that's within your cipher. So you have to pay attention to those, and things that you dislike or things that you like. Look at yourself, and then you'll see those same things within your being that you don't like about yourself, but you're expressing it towards somebody else. So I realized that a lot of the pain and suffering that I went through when I was coming up, when I was having these relationships, was caused by my own self. You know, I chose the men that I wanted to be with. I came up with the whys that I felt that was justifiable for me to go ahead and spend time with them and date them. And just not truly wanting to think on what the consequences would be if I decide to get myself involved with this particular type of person. And a lot of us don't do that. You know, we don't think logically, and we definitely, most of us do respond to situations or relationships, jobs and things like that, where we're going to move to, and ask the Spirit to guide us to those directions, to let us know what we need to do. We think to ourselves, oh man, this guy is hot. He dressed nice and he looks good. Oh my goodness, he smells good. These are the things that we're thinking. And then, you know, then we start looking at the material side. If he has a nice car, or if he has a car, and then we start wondering what type of car that he has, what type of job he has, what kind of money he makes. And we all know, I can get into the whole money issue, but this is not what this show is about. We are so about physical things and material things that are not important. And so we get caught up in that, and all the things that they woo us with romance and so on. And, excuse me, I have to get something because it is starting to get warm out here. But we get caught up in those thoughts. And that end up dictating our actions on why we end up deciding to talk to the people that we talk to, even just the friends that we have, whether they're male or female. And then we end up wondering or forgetting why we're having issues with the person, why things are happening the way that they are. You know, we're not taking the time to get to know ourselves first. You know, and a lot of people think that they know who they are, they think they understand who they are, and they really don't, because there's a Kemetic proverb, an ancient Kemetic proverb that says, know self, and that our ancestors left with us, so that we can be able to know and understand certain things about our being. If you don't know who you are, then how can anybody else expect to get to know who you are? And I'm not talking. And when I say that, we have to understand that since when we were in our mother's womb and we were being nurtured and taken care of in the womb, you know, and everything that mom felt, we felt. Everything she ate, we ate. Everything she drank, we drank. Every time she was upset, we felt and we were upset. And every time she was in joy, every time she was in joy, we were in joy. And so we already started taking in emotions when we were in our mother's womb, and we started, you know, connecting to that thought processes, just like a child can connect to the father's voice by hearing the father's voice all the time, or familiar people that was around. So when the baby comes out, they're not upset and screaming and scared of the certain people that are around them, because they're accustomed to the sound, the vibrations that comes from that being, from that body. And so it becomes a learned behavior of being accepting emotions and coming to understand what these emotions are and everything. We pay attention to our parents when we're growing up, and the choices that they make when they're looking at TV and what society says and so on, magazines that we read, and these things help shape us to who we're going to be. It starts molding us into what we like for music, what we like to eat, what type of clothes do we like, and all this other stuff. These are all a part of conditionings that are actually happening while we're growing up, and these are programs. Now, a lot of people don't want to accept that. A lot of people don't like the idea or the thought about programs, but that's exactly what it is. And we accept these things to who we are. An example, I'll speak like for me. When I was growing up, I mean, this part of me, I still am. If anybody's ever seen the video about I think it's like a monkey and a 3 horsemen and a dragonfly. I think that's what it is. And it's a video that me and my mom did, and I was just laughing the whole time that I was there because nobody could see what she was actually doing behind while holding the metal artifacts and things that she had, or the metal pieces that she had. But you know, I was always very silly and comical, and I smiled a lot when I was growing up. You know, I was always one of those people that, you know, if I saw flowers on the side of the road, I would go ahead and I would pick them, I would smell it. I would close my eyes and let the wind just hit me when it blows. I love hearing the sound of the ocean, looking at the sun and so on. These are things that I enjoy because it's a part of nature and it's a part of me, because I am earth in this physical form that I'm in right now. But I also developed emotional baggage, being upset with my, you know, because of the family environment that I was in, and always being stressed out and worried about things and concerned, and that's where I ended up having high blood pressure, and all that came from stress, and you know, developing this type of lifestyle and not speaking up, scared to speak up the way that I want to. And you know, I was never a shy person, but when it came to certain things where it was confrontation, I didn't want to deal with it. You know, when my grandfather passed away, I completely just let go of myself. I didn't want to, you know, talk to people, you know, too much, express to people. I just didn't care about my life anymore. I started drinking off and on here at a young age. I started learning how to smoke cigarettes and things like that. At the time, I didn't do drugs when I was a teenager growing up. But I did do these things, and that's when I started becoming sexually involved, and I started using sex as to cover up and mask the problems that I was having. But then it became something that was a big part of my life. And so this is what I started thinking of myself, that I'm only good for having sex, and I can get if I use my sex appeal in my body so that a man would want me, because that's what seemed like what the guys liked back then when I was in high school and when I was growing up, even in my 20s. So that's what I thought. But that's still a part of a conditioning. That's still a part of a program, and we need to understand that. And but that wasn't who I was. I was not me as a spiritual being, and who I am is naturally not a emotional being. Women are not naturally emotional. That is a learned behavior. And so I learned to be emotional. I learned to be afraid. I learned to take in fear, because fear is the only real emotion that is out here, that is that main program. And what man has done is they broke it down to different levels, so that when you are saying I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm pissed off, I envy this person, I'm jealous of this situation or this person, I want this, and so on. Saying I love you and this is why I did this, because I didn't want you to leave. You know, that's all. Everything is just bundled up as fear. It's just, that's the emotion that is fear. That is not who you are. That was not who I am. You know, being afraid to stand up and didn't want to be in confrontations. You know, I still have things that I'm dealing with now that I'm developing. And one of those things right now is just the fact of dealing with that. Understanding that there are still aspects of my life that I still have fear on. And I'm understanding that I'm not perfect. And I was able to understand that through my mirror. And once I was able to see that, I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is. I still have a certain thing about confrontations on a certain level. And I have to overcome that, because in the line of spiritual work that I'm in, I will be a part of confrontations a lot. And because you're going to have a lot of people that's going to oppose you, that's going to be against what you're saying. And then if not outside of that, you also have just people in general in everyday life that's just, you know, that's going to say things that is going against you, and you may or may not like it. It just depends on how you look at it. But you know, we have to learn to overcome. We have to learn to overcome those fears that we have acquired in our life, to overcome all these different level of emotions that we have decided to accept in our lives. But like I said, it's understanding that this is not you. You are not your emotions, and you are definitely not this body, because we're spirits. We are spirits housed in this body, because to be here in this realm, on this physical earth, that you have to have a physical body to match with how this planet works. Okay, so you know, it's understanding that once you realize and start thinking back, and you know, I truly would say that it was the help of Shakem Ra Unifer Amen, his books that I ended up reading over 10 years ago, the Meduna Terror Volume 1, and I'm still in reading it, as well as reading the Meduna Terror Volume 4, which is the initiation of Usair. And reading that also helps you to break through the different barriers that we go through. When I was a part of the Falun Dafa practice, which is ancient Chinese spiritual cultivation practice, one of the things that Master Li Hongzhi would say is that our life journey and everything is like an onion, and we're always peeling back the onions until we get to the core, the center. And that's just how much we have built up in our lives when we're dealing with things. And especially for the female, the woman, you know, she's and her, well, men have this too, and I would get to that as well, even though this is a show for women. But it's understanding that we got so much that's bottled in us, you know, because we have the universe within our being. We are very spiritually connected. We also very connected to this earth. You know, we're not bounded to it, but we're connected to it. And so we can feel the pain and the suffering that the earth is feeling through what man is doing to it. Then we also feel the pain and suffering of the mentals that we have accepted through the programming of things, of society, how things are happening to our people, to our men, to our beautiful kings and gods that are out there, that are hurting, and we're watching them go through the pain, and then we're out, and then we're feeling that pain and pain. You know, and when I say children, it's not just the children that came from us, it's the children that are outside of us as well, because we're all still connected somehow. You know, and so we're holding all that and bottling all that up in our being. So it comes out to be attitude and emotionals and all this other stuff, and that's not what it is. We don't know how to have peace in our beings, and a lot of us think that we understand what peace is. And peace is not exactly what people think it is. You know, they're like, oh, I feel like if I light some candles and I put on some relaxing music, maybe some jazz, or turn on some Erykah Badu, you know, that I can be able to drink some tea and sit back when it's dark, and just that's where I'm relaxing. You're relaxing. You're not in peace. You're relaxing. You're taking some time to get everything off in your mind for a moment and letting it fall off your shoulders so that you can be able to chill. To be in peace is to understand that you were created and designed in that peace, which is the one Most High. And to understand that nothing inside or outside of you will affect you, that will change that peace that is within you. You will not be moved in any way, and that nothing that anybody says to you is going to make you happy, and nothing that anybody says to you is going to make you sad. That's what peace is. You won't be affected by that. Growing into this is, you know, it truly helps you to understand more about yourself and what you need to do for your life. There's so much more that needs to be spoken about on this show, and I'm also going to start having special guests that will come here. But I do need to wrap this up because we're coming into time, and it's only a half-an-hour show. But I will be back again. We're going to talk more about raising the feminine principle. I like to also give thanks to Ba'aba, Haru Angara Samaj, who is the maker of my ring and my pendant. Again, I'd like to give thanks to you, and I would like to ask my people to give support to Studio Pitah here in Brooklyn, New York. He designs out of Pitah, the creator, the divine creator, and that's within him. And I would like y'all to support him very much in his work and his art and his craft. Again, thank you very much. Thank you, WNWP, for allowing me to have this, and y'all have a blessed day. Again, my name is Satra Nitert Kefa Abe Manuk Ma'ad. Thank you for being a part of Raising the Feminine Principle. Hotel.